right. Welcome to the State of the Muck, episode 3.
Yep.
We're gonna continue to talk about the Muck. I know we talked about Pahokee a lot during that segment, and today we get a chance to really talk a little bit about Belle Glade, right?
Oh, so Belle Glade does exist.
Belle Glade exists.
Belle
Okay.
Glade exists. But listen, guys, we want to thank you guys. We want to remind you to make sure to like, comment, subscribe to both of our channels. You got Coaching to Elevate. You also got Simple Thoughts. Remember to like in whatever channel that you're watching this on, share it, subscribe. We really appreciate that. That helps us out. That gives us the leverage that it encourages us to continue to do things like this for our community and for the culture.
And also, we would surely like to thank you all for your feedback. We've heard a lot of great things about the first two segments that we released.
Yeah.
And we will just want to continue to bring you guys more. If there's anybody out there who would love to share their perspective about the Muck, or if there anybody who would like to share some things about the history of the Muck that we don't cover, you can email us at coachingtoelevate@gmail.com, and we'd be glad to try to set something up with you so that we can get your perspective and get your input. This is not about us; it's about our story.
Yeah.
And we don't have all of the pieces, so it'd be wonderful to get those pieces from other people. So,
And it's important, it's really important that we do that, because then this is how we can lay down the framework for how we can lay the framework for a vision for the Muck, and to take it to a new level and give it a new vision. And I know people that are enjoying this are people that have a desire to see the Glades area just skyrocket and be what we all know it is,
yeah.
So yeah, man.
All right. So, we quick recap. We started out by talking about the Muck in general, and a lot of things started with Pahokee in 1917. We talked about how the black gold, the soil, led to a lot of people coming to the Muck and getting rich and all of that other stuff. We talked about how we here, our people, our soil, on our land, impacted this entire region. And we had a lot of fun doing that. That we were very excited when we got that information, and we were happy to get that out to you guys.
Yeah.
So today we're going to continue that, but we're also going to talk about the history of Belle Glade.
Belle
Glade. Now, I want to start off by saying that our stories, even though we're essentially the same, our stories are different.
Really different.
Very different.
Very
and
different.
our impacts are also different.
Yeah.
Belle Glade has a special place in history, unlike, that's definitely not the same as Pahokee in terms of its impact. I was surprised by a lot of the things that I saw.
Really?
Yes, a lot of the things that I saw.
Yeah.
Let's start with the name, Belle Glade.
That got me. That really hit me. When I looked it up, the Belle Glade was initially called Hillsboro. And but let's go back a little further. I was reading, and this our area, this area was inhabited by the Calcool Indians and the Seminoles. We got to give them respect. And that's something I know we don't do a lot of times, and we have to give these individuals, because let's be honest, they were murdered, and we're living, and believe it or not, found out that that if you're on 715. If you're driving, like say from Pahokee on 715, coming into Belle Glade, this area called Chosen, that's where they have a cemetery there for them.
The area was called Chosen.
The area is still called Chosen.
Wow.
In Belle Glade, like when you're on 715, if you after when you're on 715 and you cross that bridge, like if you're going to go to the marina,
Right.
So right there, that area is called Chosen when you cross that bridge. Right there, it's called Chosen, and back. In the back, they have like a old, like burial ground for them.
Wow.
The Calcool Indians and Seminoles. But the area, to go take it back, the area was swampland, pretty much.
Yeah.
In the 1800s and even into the 90s, it was pretty much swampland. And so what happened was there was a couple of investors that came down here. They're like, man, this spot could be good for some stuff. It could be good for some stuff. And then I was reading what they did was, and you can go look this all up if you want to. You can go to Belle Glade Chambers. So you ain't making it like I had the history. You can go to Belle Glade Chamber and a bunch of other spots, and you can read and see how what they did was they started a project of literally draining the area so it could be livable.
Yeah.
So it could be livable. So what they did was they did that around like
It started
when was it?
1906. It's called the Everglades Dredging Project.
Right.
I have a picture right here.
Oh man,
That's it.
You see that?
Yeah, they're gonna have to see it.
They're gonna have to see that. Oh.
That's the dredging project.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. That is dope. And what's so crazy about it? It was led by some Northerners from Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Like this rich dude from Pennsylvania. I didn't get his name. What was his dude name? Like there's an area still named after him. And this guy, he had like the vision for the community. So they dredged it up. Diston, that's his name. Diston.
Okay.
Diston. Diston. He was responsible for placing the drainage canals all the way around the lake. Because they were just trying to drain it. Because it was just like the lake was literally just spilling over, from what it looked like. And then they were just draining it. And then just so that, and the crazy thing about it, it was just this big old swamp around the lake, in the southern part of the lake. Whoa, yeah, exactly.
Right. And what's crazy about this is an official map of the Everglades. And this is 1905, right? And it says it included land from the southern shore of Lake Okeechobee, south to Cape Sable, and east to the present site of State Road 7. So the Everglades went all the way to State Road 7.
Jeez.
And this is an old map of the Everglades, 1905.
Right,
that's how it looked.
Right.
So,
that is wild.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
And you know what's so funny about that is that you had like this whole project to clear land that they weren't sure could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They were just trying to get to the lake. They were just trying to see what we can do around this lake. What can happen? They didn't know what was there. They didn't know that it could be good for agriculture or anything like that. They just were like, hey, let's put something. There's this big old lake here, big body of water, because that's what Lake Okeechobee means, big lake. And we're just gonna see what we can put back here.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Nile Valley. Egypt. When the Nile River flooded, it basically put nutrients into the ground in the areas that it flooded, right?
Right.
So when it receded, it made the land more fertile. That's one of the most important places in history. Right?
Yeah.
So this may be kind of like a Nile Valley type of situation.
I wouldn't even say kinda. I think that's what it is.
Right.
Because when you read further, like when I did more research, you start seeing that they realized that this could be bigger than what they thought. Like this whole area could do more than what they thought it was going to be able to do. Because once they started dredging, they got all the water out, they got all this swamp area out, they made the canals, and they were like, oh shoot, there's land here. Like we could live here. Now the only problem was during that dredging, there was a disease that went around. There was like I forgot the name of the disease, and it killed a lot of people during that time. And so it pushed people off to live in Belle Glade because it was still called Hillsborough. And then what's so funny was they were really, if people that are from Belle Glade, if you know where the marina is at, we call it Torrey Island, right? That's the Torrey Island. Yeah. So back there, it's called Torrey Island. So back there, that's literally, you might as well call that the original Hillsborough because back there was where the first post office was.
Yeah.
Back that way. And the only way they can get to that post office was only by boat. So anybody that was living in the area, and that's the only way they could travel, was by boat during that time. There was no horse and buggy. You had to be on the canals to get anywhere in the city, right? And literally, just like Pahokee, you could just like the lake was right there. The lake was like eye level to you. It's crazy. We can't imagine that. Like we can't imagine just being able to see the lake. Like you could be in Belle Glade and just see the lake like that, and that's what it was for them. And so they're seeing the lake like this, right? And then so that whole Torrey Island area, it's like if you go back there, for those who don't know, for those that are watching and you ever been to Belle Glade a while, if you take 715, like you're coming say from Belle Glade, from Pahokee or from Palm, you take 715 and you get to that light, I think it's called West Canal, you make that right or that left and you go down there. That take you to the original area of what Belle Glade looked. That's originally Belle Glade, if you want to call that. And it wasn't Belle Glade at the time. It was called Hillsborough. Right?
Named after the Hillsborough Canal.
Now, exactly. Yeah. And so, mind you, they were just doing this because this was just, we're going to see what can be done here. They weren't really planting yet. There wasn't no real like agriculture happening yet. It was still early 1900s. You know what I'm saying? They still, and then like I said, some people got sick. A lot of people died. So people were kind of like, I don't know if we want to come out here yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then something happened. I don't know what happened. Somebody started planting stuff, and they were like, wait a minute.
But you got to think, too. At that time, Pahokee had already, like I said, Pahokee was 1917, right?
Bam.
And right after all of these things started happening with Pahokee,
right,
Belle Glade wasn't too far behind. Like I said, at that time, Belle Glade had like 500 residents at that time.
Right.
Pahokee had around 2,000 residents at that time.
Exactly.
So there were people in the area of Belle Glade, and things were starting to kind of get kick off in Belle Glade.
Right.
So now, from Hillsborough to being called Belle Glade,
how did that happen?
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And the word Belle Glade, I'll put it this way. Belle Glade was named what it was named because people saw it as the belle of the glades.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta be specific because I don't want anybody to misunderstand this.
Right.
It's not Bell of the glades.
Yeah.
It's not the bell that you ring.
Nah.
It's Belle. And that's important.
Yeah.
You know why it's important?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you what Belle means.
I know what it means.
You know what it means?
I have French in my background.
All right. So Belle Glade means the most beautiful, charming, or engaging woman or girl among a number of girls.
Ooh. Now, so hey, listen, wait a minute. Let's stop. This does not mean we saying Belle Glade is better than everybody else. We just saying it just was the name.
It's the name.
They just gave it. And here's the funny thing. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you read it. I read this. They said the joke is, it's like the running joke is that they were trying to rename the city because they didn't like the whole Hillsborough name. So at that same Torrey Island, in the post office, they had a blackboard and you write down the name that you like. And so Belle kept coming up. The word Belle kept coming up and Glades kept coming up. And then they voted on, okay, what do y'all want to call it, Belle or Glade? They were like, why don't we put both of them together? And so they were like, all right, we're going to vote on Belle Glade or Hillsborough. And everybody like, we like Belle Glade better.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even nothing like.
Listen, Belle, Belle, the most beautiful, charming, or engaging woman or girl among a number of women. And
wow.
You know, I think that's crazy. That's so appropriate. Y'all got a lot of beautiful women. Pahokee does too.
Stop it.
Pahokee.
You're making me blush.
No,
now, man. You're
serious.
You're making me blush.
That's probably why y'all got some.
That's why I got some beautiful women.
You married now, so you better be careful.
Hey, listen, I know many beautiful women from Belle Glade. Many beautiful women I've seen that I'm still friends with, and I'm not ashamed to say that they're beautiful. You know who you are. There are many of you from Belle Glade. We went to school together. Or listen, man, let me tell you something. When I was in Tallahassee, I had dudes every day ask me, hey, bro, hey, your homegirl from Belle Glade, bro, hook me up. And I just be like, hey, man, go talk. I ain't finna do that, bro. Go handle that.
Hey, but, you know, the Muck has beautiful women, man. So I'll say this, some of the most beautiful women in the world. And the crazy thing is, like, you don't know that coming out of out of high school and going off somewhere. Like you don't realize it. Like I mean, there are a lot of beautiful women in the world.
Nah, man.
But like
you don't take it for granted.
The Muck, we got some.
We got some beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
so to see that, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. That you know what's so funny though? You say beautiful women. I'm about to be like real like high level with you now. We just got beautiful people.
Period.
Like beautiful people. Some of the most beautiful people I know are from Belle Glade.
Yeah. And now it ain't just beauty; it's charming and engaging.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Right. And doesn't that like fit the spirit of a typical chick from the Muck? Like, you're beautiful, you're charming, and you're engaging. And you know what's crazy? Like we got this joke like what we talk about in among my friends like you know, in Daytona, right? Like a woman from the Muck can go out, and I'm telling you, in a matter of months, she'll have a dude. She'll be married. Yeah, listen. Yeah, yeah. Like a woman from the Muck can go out there and take over no problem. Yeah, and that's crazy to me because I've seen it happen in certain situations. Like,
I've seen. Oh yeah, man.
Like man.
Yeah, man.
She had a hard time at home, but
not when she got away.
Baby girl went out and man. Like dude proposing like in 3 months.
3 months, like man,
it's crazy.
I'm talking about like, and I think that says a lot about like just the caliber of people and how a community like our community just raises some extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Like beautiful on the outside, beautiful on the inside. Don't mean they without problems.
Yeah, everybody got.
But despite their problems, man, they are awesome people. Like raising awesome children, doing great things in the world. Yeah. Like you can't, man.
Yeah, some phenomenal people. Period.
Man, like
it's amazing.
So when you look at Belle Glade, let's go back. Let's go back. When you look at this city and the naming of it, and you just see, you know, in African traditions, they always talk about there's always something about a name, and these people were just playing around and named the city that, right?
But the people took on that spirit.
But I would even say not even take on the spirit. I think the people that are of that spirit came to this place. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Like, I think, and I'm not saying that people from other places that live in other places don't have a certain spirit, but I believe there's something about being from a place and you, even though you may not have like deep roots, but you have the spirit of the place already.
But that's the thing. I think that there are cities that have a spirit, like the spirit of Miami. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Every major city, Orlando.
Yeah.
There's New Orleans. Certain type. Right.
I lived there, man. Daytona.
Yeah.
It has a spirit.
It has a spirit. A certain thing about it.
Exactly. Like, and so I think without them knowing, they named the city in a manner that brought those type of people there. Yeah. Right? So that's how come when you look at the history of the city and what it means and what it is, it's powerful, man. It's really powerful. And now let's go back. So they started draining the canal. They drained in all the swamp.
Yeah.
They got these canals. And then they start trying to put roads in and stuff like that. Then you have 1928 happens.
Yeah.
You have this major hurricane that comes. And at that time, when I was reading, there was probably only like 2,500 people living in the city at the time.
Or maybe 1928, yeah.
About 20. Well, how much you saw? I saw
it was in the five. Think about it. Belle Glade was Hillsborough.
Hillsborough
was established in 1918.
Right.
Belle Glade in 1925.
Yep.
And then there was a hurricane in 26.
No, 28.
No. Before.
There
was a hurricane before that.
No.
There was a hurricane before that.
Oh, I didn't read that.
And they weathered the storm, and then the 28 came 2 years later. That really kind of it was devastating
because the lake spilled over.
Yeah.
What we call that storm surge type joint. And then what's so crazy is I forgot to tell you this. I never understood why people from Belle Glade love University of Florida. University of Florida has deep, 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 deep roots
Very
out
deep
here.
roots.
Matter of fact, they were one of the first universities in the early 1900s to start working on developing the agriculture
They
here.
did the, yeah, they
Yeah,
did the research. So
exactly.
they knew from their research what could happen in terms of agriculture. Because they
Yeah,
did the studies.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's amazing.
I was floored when I read that, and it just because I was like, why everybody writing like UF? Like, what's so big about UF? But then you start realizing that they have had deep roots in here as far as agriculture and stuff like that. But going back to the 1928 storm, right? You got the 1928 storm, and then after the 1928 storm, then this is what's interesting. This is how you know a community is important. The national government, because this is not the first time you've had storms that hit small communities like this, right? And not even that. Belle Glade wasn't even really like a booming, like Pahokee was booming. Belle Glade wasn't booming yet,
Not
right?
yet. Mm-hmm.
And Belle Glade was able to garner national attention. That's why because they literally built the dike for Belle Glade. They built it for Belle Glade because they were like, well, we can't lose another city like this. Too many people died. Like the amount of people that died in the storm. Oh, I think it was over more than I forgot how many. 2,500 people died as a result of the storm. Right, and so that was it was a major catastrophe. And then you got to remember, America's still in the middle of a depression.
Yeah.
It's still in the midst of, this is 1928. So you're still in the middle of the Great Depression at this time. And so you have this like, okay, this is this national consciousness for this place. And so they say, okay, we're going to build the Hoover Dam. All right. We're going to build the dike as we know it, the dike. And they built it at the time. I think they built it to be about 25 feet or whatever. And it worked.
Yeah.
It served its purpose, and it's still to believe that it's over what, almost 90 something years now, close to 90 something years, 90 something years, and this dam is still and weathered a ton of storms, So yeah, man. So with that, then them dudes started realizing we can live here. We can start growing things here. We can start doing livestock here. And that's what they started doing. They started building roads. They started doing this, started bringing agriculture into here and stuff like that. And so then it started. But then here's the thing. I don't know if you saw this, but I saw this in my readings. The muck as we know it in Belle Glade, at least, like, because this is what I found out when I was reading. Pahokee just had good land to grow stuff. It just has the best land to grow stuff. Belle Glade, it was still swamp. They had to dredge it, whatever. It was okay. They didn't really know. And then you had the storm, the 1928 storm. That did something to the land, but it didn't really click yet. And then so they were still trying to figure out what can we do to make stuff grow like it's growing in Pahokee, right? So they found out it was still good. They said, then in their studies they realized we need to add copper.
Wow.
To the land. Add copper. And then from them adding that copper, it gives us the muck as we know it today.
Wow.
Yeah. In Belle Glade, that's for sure. And South Bay. Belle Glade and South Bay. So that whole revelation, then once they put that copper in the land,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, then agriculture just went through the roof. They had beans. They were growing beans out the wazoo.
And along with what you're saying, I also read that you did have more people coming from the north because Belle Glade and Pahokee were known as the places where you can grow crops in the winter.
Yeah.
So once again, we back to how it started in 1917.
Come on.
Now in Belle Glade, you can grow crops in the winter.
In the winter, right?
So
right. I mean,
it's amazing.
Amazing.
It's
and
amazing.
Then you have a literally source of water Like that's never gonna end. You have the lake, so you always, if it doesn't rain, you still have water.
Irrigation for irrigation purposes. Okay.
Literally forever. So you just had a lot of stuff like that, and then you had now there's some folks that came in that started settling the place. There's one guy in particular, like the Belle Glade Library is named after this guy. It's called His name is Lawrence E. Will.
I got him.
You got him.
Got him.
Cool. I think I knew one of his kids. I knew one of his grandkids. I think when I was growing up. I don't know but that grandkid, his name wasn't Will. His last name wasn't Will. It was something else. He's because we used to go to the library. He's like, oh, his name is my granddad.
Yeah.
Or something. I used to be like, what?
Lawrence E. Will. Yeah.
Yeah. The library is named after him. He's the founder of Okalanta. So people that know Okalanta.
Hold on. Gotta be careful. His dad was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, his dad?
His dad was.
Okay, so he's the dad.
And he was the first, I think he was the first fire chief of Belle Glade.
Right, I read that.
He's the one that wrote the 6 books about South Florida. That's Lawrence. I think his dad's name was Thomas.
Thomas, and he's Lawrence. Yeah, Lawrence. Yeah. Yep.
So he did the Okalanta. That's crazy. Okalanta.
Mm-hmm.
That's, we got to look into that.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's see here. After his first visit to the Everglades in 1910, Thomas E. Will quit his position as an editor for the American Forestry Association and organized the Florida Everglades Home Builders Association. Part of his plan was to establish a cooperative settlement in the Glades. The Harvard graduate and former college professor would devote the rest of his life to his dream. This is his father, and this is the one who he basically discovered Okalanta.
Yeah. I think he's probably and his father was one of the main reasons, like, the community grew. Yeah, he was one of the guys that made the community grow and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did. He purchased.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons.
He purchased over 1,000 acres.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sold them into parcels, so he got money.
Got bank.
Says a mile south of the first site and due south from what would become South Bay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he started his community of Okalanta in 1913.
Okay.
His son Lawrence E. Will was also among the first settlers. They shared a small shack from December 1914 until 1922. He did experiments and invented equipment and looked for ways to improve the lives of residents here. So these are amazing people that I never heard about this guy.
Yeah. And I was thinking about something when I was doing the research, and being a kid that grew up in Belle Glade, I knew about, they spoke, being in school, we learned about the 1928 storm, but we never really had a conversation about how the community developed. Being that we're such a small town, I think there could have been a little bit more light shined on how the community started and stuff like that. And just so you can kind of have an idea of how this community started. And being that now I'm a 38-year-old man, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been living in this community all this time. I don't know who the first settlers were. I don't know their names. I don't know, like, why is that? You know what I'm saying? And I think this is important that we're sharing this so people can know. Like, you need to know. Like, you need to know why you've been, especially for people that have been here a few generations. Yeah. I'm only like maybe 2 generations. I'm only 2 generations in. No, a generation in. And I know people that have been here 3-4 generations. Yeah. So.
But the hurricane of 1928 did destroy Okalanta. That was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's crazy because State Road 27 is designated as Thomas E. Will Memorial Highway.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The whole from
State Road 7. Yeah.
Really? Bro, you gonna make next time?
I'm serious.
Man, I gotta go to Palm Beach tomorrow. I'm gonna.
Yeah, so that's State Road 7. No, I'm saying State Road. I'm sorry, 27. 27. It's going through South Bay. All the way to Miami. That is designated as Thomas E. Will Memorial Highway. 27.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Man, you gonna make me
look. This is crazy.
I'm gonna take a trip. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take a picture and show y'all this.
And that's the thing about the impact on a national level.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. Like, you didn't hear about that in terms of Pahokee, But when it comes down to Belgrade,
Yeah.
this is where you start hearing about all of these different people.
Yeah.
That are just on a massive scale. They are big time people.
Yeah.
They're very, very important people.
White and black.
White and black.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, that really hit me. That floored me because I was like, wait a minute. Like, this, a community that initially wasn't supposed to be that big of a deal ended up becoming a big deal.
A big deal.
Right? And everybody wanted to come through here to see what was going on. Like, to see, how you mentioned in Pahokee, it was a 24-hour city, right? In this boom, in this, let's say, this agricultural boom kind of time. And Belle Glade was, I would say Belle Glade was the next city over you went to that was close, that was still popping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was right. They were right there.
Right there to each other.
Right.
10 miles away, if you want to say that, and they both are booming as far as, like, for the times. Like, when you think about it, bro, for the times, that was, like, I was reading. No, I wasn't reading. Somebody was telling me this. This older guy was telling me. He said, man, when you're in Belle Glade, like, down Avenue E. Mm-hmm. So people that are from Belle Glade, if you go down Avenue E, where growing up in school, we used to hang, after football, hang out on Avenue E. But a lot of those houses, a lot of those apartment buildings that we know on Avenue E, those were brought there. Like, that style of architecture was brought there by specifically black people.
Wow.
Who saw places like who went from other communities, other cities, and they said, hey, we want this type of architecture here in Belle Glade. And so it attracted folks from up north, because they're like, wait a minute, this little small town in Florida, it feels good, it's warm, they got food, you can make money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They coming down to see it, and then they're living, and these places were at the time like hotels. They were hotels, they were living quarters, so people could live there, and they would just hang. That's how like, you got people like Zora Neale Hurston. Like, she literally would go. She would work in Pahokee and stay in Belle Glade.
Yeah.
Like, she was working Pahokee. I was reading that she would work in Pahokee, hang out in Pahokee, work there, come to Belle Glade, live in Belle Glade, write her books, write her whatevers, and then and then when the season was over, she went back up to Eatonville, where she was from or whatever. So, and that's what people did. I heard something. I don't know if you read this. I remember speaking to somebody, and they were telling me that even guys like Langston Hughes used to come down.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would come to Belle Glade and hang out. Like, during the Harlem Renaissance, they would come to Belle Glade because it was warmer. They could work, they could do different things, and they were writing poems. They were writing their books, doing their music or whatever here in Belle Glade.
Did you read the book Their Eyes Are Watching God? No, I'm just asking.
Man, bro, that was required literature.
I'm gonna be honest. I never read it. I've been reading about it.
You gotta go.
But now that I've learned a little bit about the book, wow,
you need to go read it.
I had to make note. It ultimately deals with the value of women in relationships.
What?
And at that time, you talking about somebody writing about the value of women in relationships at that time.
She literally, in the book, when you read the book, every time I think about that book, it makes me shudder for the way sometimes we as men, we treat women. Mm-hmm. Right? And how some men treat women, right? And when you see how descriptive she is, and the treatment that she got from certain men, and the treatment that she had, but then the fact that she still loved them so hard, right? Like, it makes you like go like, whoa, man, like you. And mind you, she's writing this in the 40s and the 50s when people are telling you women need to be in their place. Like, you only here to cook, clean, and be barefoot and pregnant. That's you know what I'm saying? And here is this woman, like, literally championing what we consider today women's rights. Like, that's what she's doing in that book.
And now, in addition to that, now we got to talk about one of her friends.
Who's that?
Sarah Lee Creech.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Sarah Lee Creech was born in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
All right. Of course, with the Great Depression or whatnot, all of that stuff is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And she eventually moves to Belle Glade.
Mm-hmm.
She started an insurance business. Back then, this is a woman starting an insurance business, right?
Mm-hmm.
She also had a flower shop with her mother.
Mm-hmm.
She became the first president of the Florida Federation of Business and Professional Women's Club, right?
What?
She was also part of an interracial council as well. All right, now this is the crazy part. It says later that year, Creech was struck by the sight of two African American girls playing with white dolls. This is a white woman too, by the way. She learned that black dolls typically either reflect derogatory stereotypes from slavery or were simply white dolls painted brown. Research showed that both of those things discourage self-respect in black children.
Wow.
This is a white woman. All right. Through her contacts, let me tell you what this woman did.
Uh-huh.
And this ties it to Belle Glade.
Right.
This woman took 500 pictures of Belle Glade people.
Uh-huh.
Mainly children, and she modeled the dolls after those children from Belle Glade.
What?
Let me tell you what happened.
Hold up, around what time was this?
This was let's see.
So some people's grandmama probably picture got took.
So this is it looks like late 1948.
Wow.
Around 1948,
right,
early
right,
1950,
right.
so 48, 50.
Okay.
All right, so watch this. Former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt took an interest in her project. The project was the Black Doll Project. This is a white woman doing this. Whoa. The Black Doll Project. Calling the dolls reproduced well with careful study and anthropological background of the race.
Uh-huh.
All right, and it was a lesson in equality for little children.
What?
Watch this. To attract national attention, Roosevelt hosted a tea to consult on the appropriate skin color for Sarah Lee. Sarah Lee was the name of that black doll. Sarah Lee. The first one. With black, watch this. Listen to this. This is crazy. So Roosevelt hosted a tea consult on the appropriate skin color for Sarah Lee, which black celebrities such as Mary McLeod Bethune.
What?
Yeah. Nobel Peace Prize winner Ralph Bunche. Jackie Robinson.
What?
Listen to this, man. It's crazy. And like I said, they took 500 pictures of Belle Glade children and this doll that
I'm looking at a picture
nationally
of this doll.
recognized
was
modeled after Belle Glade people. Now watch this. Let me give you some. They got some actual names in here. Let me see.
Jeez.
Check this out. Let's see at St. Louis Sculptures. Created molds for 4 dolls based on more than 500 photographs Creech took from Belle Glade children. Wow. Watch this. And measurements of their heads. Some of the models were pictured in Life magazine in 1951.
What?
Watch this. They got names of people that may still be living. It says including Mary Evelyn Owens, Willie James Thompson, Constance Morgan, Anna Thelma Argret, and sisters Cartheta and Lavosie Taylor.
Bruh.
It's right here.
Bruh. The last two, I know them.
Yeah.
One of them was my teacher. Matter of fact, one was my teacher. Okay. You remember the funeral home Taylor and West?
Taylor, yeah.
That's their daughters.
Wow.
So Taylor.
Wow.
So Cartheta and Lavoie is Lavoie Smith and Cartheta Mann now. Right. Miss Mann was my 10th grade English teacher. Her daughter and so I graduated one of her daughters. Okay. Her and Miss Lavoie Smith, she was at one point in time, she was the principal at Pahokee High. Yo. So next time I see her, I'm gonna say, wait a minute. So all this time. So hey, Ray Song. This is Ray Song. I'm okay. We finna mess with your mama now. Listen, I'm mad at your mama. Your mama didn't tell us that she was measured for a doll. That's messed up. I don't like that.
Wow.
That is amazing.
But she was Zora Neale Hurston's friend. Wow. That's what I'm saying. Belle Glade has people Belle Glade has ties that
Oh,
that
that's
go into
like,
the national. Like it's crazy.
oh, that is
So we
crazy.
got the Hill family. We got Zora Neale Hurst. We have Langston Hughes. All of these people, Sarah Lee Creech. All of these people were recognized, and we're talking about an anatomical doll named Sarah Lee. Was modeled after. They made 4 different models
Yeah.
from 500 pictures of people from Belle Glade.
Wow. Wow. Here's the lady.
Mm-hmm.
Here she is. This lady right here.
That's her?
Yeah.
Wow, bro.
She still lives in Belle Glade.
Wow.
She still lives in Belle Glade.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody? Listen.
Wow.
I know, guys. I know there's people watching,
Man.
listening to this and watching this. That's my man. Yeah, that's my man.
Wow.
That's his man.
That's crazy.
Listen, and I think that speaks volumes to. That speaks volumes. But let's okay. I'm finna do what I did. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate again.
What you talking about, man?
But the narrative about us has always been this negative narrative about our community, right? You know, it's a bunch of farm workers and and oh, the black people there, they're poor below the poverty line, But one of the first black dolls created for black children came from this community as a result of somebody coming into this community who was from this community, said, wait a minute, these children are not being represented properly.
Yeah.
Right? But then there's still this narrative, not just about Belle Glade, but about the Glades area. It's just like, I feel like, and I'm just being honest with you, I feel like there's just like this overt desire to paint the Glades area as this overly depressed place, this overly da-da-da-da-da-da. But I was talking to somebody yesterday, matter of fact, and we were saying how the Glades area, even though it's in a rural setting, is an urban incubator.
Okay.
It has all the urban issues, good and bad, that you could ever find in any major urban city, right? Because the people that are here do not just have rural mindsets. Like, we don't have a bunch of people here walking around here, hey, you know, like with a rural mindset. Mm-hmm. We have people that are walking around here that have trend-setting mindsets, trend-setting ideas that you anywhere else, people pay millions for that stuff. And this right here is an example. And this was what, in the 40s? Yeah, 40s and the 50s? Right? So I feel like anybody watching this right now, if you have any, if you feel any way about this area that we are from, if you've been feeling down, if you feel like, why did I come here? Man, get that out your head, man. You are living in one of the most progressive, one of the most trend-setting places in this country that changed the narrative of the country about how we as black people look. Sorry, I started preaching. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But you know what? Even if you go back before we got the roads and everything, like I found this. It's like an ad. Let me tell you what it says.
What does it say, man?
It says a 3 days cruise in the Glades. A cruise.
What? Wait.
Look, $5 pays all expenses. Right. So this is the ad. Investors are people who wanted to invest in the land here.
Right.
And, you know what was going on.
Right.
They literally went on a cruise
to see.
Right.
Wow.
This is a cruise.
Jeez, man, are you kidding me?
3 days cruise. $5 paid for everything. A cruise.
I want to know, like, when was this? Like what year was this? I'm sorry, and I know y'all might be like, Miranda, you always asking about what in the year or something. Because, like, y'all got to understand, like, there was a point in time this area, like we just told you, was nothing but swamp. And then there were people looking into this area for development's sake. Mm-hmm. So they probably weren't even looking at it for what we know as it for what it is now. They were probably looking at it as like, man, it is warm down here. during the winters. The land is nice. It's flat. We don't got no hills. We got this big old body of water right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine, right? And then they probably thinking hotels. We got.
They did. That's what Mr. Will, he set up hotels.
Come on, man.
You know, so
sorry, y'all.
I mean, the hurricane destroyed it. It
Yeah,
destroyed everybody's stuff or whatever.
Yeah. But still,
it's amazing.
But it lets you know that there is it's a lot. There's a lot here, man.
Let me hit you with another.
Hit me with another. Man, I don't know if I can handle. I don't know if I can. That Cerelac thing got me, bro.
Yeah, let me hit you with another.
That Cerelac thing got me.
Watch this. And we talking about Belle Glade now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned something in our last segment about you coming here as migrants.
Yeah.
You know, you're Haitian descent.
Right.
Coming here as a migrant.
Yep.
And you know, you talked about, you know, some of the things that, you know, that people had to deal with, people had to go through at that time.
Yeah.
What I'm about to tell you is crazy.
Man,
it's crazy.
I don't know if I can.
You ready for this?
Yeah. As ready as I can be. I don't know if I can handle it.
There was something called the harvest of shame.
I heard about it vaguely. Go ahead on.
The harvest of shame.
Okay.
Okay. So it says many migrant farm workers from Belle Glade were dealing with certain types of treatment. Mm-hmm. They were under certain types of conditions.
Yeah.
That were considered, you know, inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That their treatment was horrible.
Right.
All right. This is crazy because even today, if you get up early enough, you'll see migrants getting on buses.
Yeah.
Preparing to go out, even to this day.
Oh yeah,
right?
For sure.
And now we're talking about something that happened back in the 60s that's still taking place today.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I got to talk to you about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. His name is Edward R. Murrow. All right.
Who?
Edward.
I know who Edward R. Murrow is.
So now, let me give this to you.
Okay.
So the harvest of shame.
Uh-huh.
So that was a 1960s television documentary.
Right.
All right. He was from CBS, and he showed the plight of American migrant agricultural workers. All right. It was his final documentary for that network, CBS, and he left it at the end of January 1961. Watch this. Mm-hmm. At John F. Kennedy's request to become the head of the United States Information Agency.
Yeah, that's
all right. An
yeah.
investigative report intended to shock Americans into action. It was the first time millions of Americans were given a close look at what it means to live in poverty by television. All right. And it was called the harvest of shame. This was pretty much when we talk about, let me see, you had people from Belle Glade who were actually migrants from Belle Glade who were actually in that documentary.
What?
John F. Kennedy pulled this guy to make this a national issue. Belle Glade.
Jeez.
Belle Glade.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Isn't it crazy how like Pahok and Belle Glade got two totally different things going on?
That's crazy to me. I don't even know. Like, I don't even.
This is him.
I know who that is. I'm gonna tell you how I know about him. I knew about him because of because of his connection to Kennedy.
Right.
Like I read about him in history books and stuff like that, and his connection to Kennedy and everything like that. I didn't know that he was the guy that made this whole research thing right here. I didn't know that. Wow. And then here's so funny. After this one, in the 90s, ABC did something about the Jamaican field workers.
Okay.
And their mistreatment. Like, AB, remember the show 2020? Mm-hmm. They had a whole, I think it was you know how 2020 do like a 30-minute joint?
Right.
They had 4 episodes of that joint. It went, and actually, it was one of the reasons that airing was one of the reasons why people said that a lot of people blame that, not this one necessarily, but they blame that airing for the decline in agriculture here in the Glades. And because they were like, oh, it brought too much light and a lot of regulations, da 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 da. It did. It brought a lot of regulations in the farming community in the '90s and stuff like that because they were doing, bruh.
Belle Glade, 1945.
Bruh, that's crazy.
During World War II.
Oh wow.
250 German prisoners of war.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Were in internment camps.
Yeah.
Just east of Belle Glade, next to the Everglades Experiment Station. Right. The men worked in a bean canning factory on Lake Okeechobee or the dike.
Yeah.
Or in sugarcane fields for which they were paid 80 cents a day.
Wow.
Watch this. Local farmers sometimes had to be convinced to hire POWs by County Agriculture Agent Marvin V. Mounds. He was called Red. All right.
Oh, that's crazy.
This is crazy.
That's crazy, bruh. That's crazy. Right here in Belle Glade.
Right there in Belle Glade.
Jesus. That's crazy, bruh.
We have a lot to be, like I said, I think black and white people contributed to a lot of great things on the Muck. Yeah. In Pahokee. Yeah. And in Belle Glade. Yeah. Like I'm just
But you know what though, bruh? I think that right there should make us understand, like, man, we don't have nothing to be ashamed of, man. We don't have nothing. We don't have nothing to be ashamed of. Like Belle Glade, Pahokee, we have no reason to lower our heads. Only, if anything, we need to hold people accountable who try to paint us a negative way. Like if you're painting us a negative way, we need you why? Because this place has the Glades area has such a rich culture. Not only not confined to the area, but for the country.
But you know what's a problem for me? We just talked about all these people. But one of the first things that you see when you look up Belle Glade, and there's a section that says notable people. It's none of the people that we talked about today.
Wow.
Every notable person, in your initial search, when you're researching about Belle Glade, every notable person is a football player.
Yeah.
Every single notable person was an athlete. Yeah. Every single one of them.
Every one of them.
But we don't hear about people like the ones we've been talking about tonight.
No. And then we didn't even mention in Belle Glade, like, one of the first funeral homes, like the two ladies I just mentioned, their parents owned one of the first black-owned funeral homes in the county. Palm Beach County, their parents, the Taylor and West, right? I mean, black-owned calves between Belle Glade and Pahokee, right? I mean, like, stuff like that. These people are not mentioned, man. And there's an old African proverb, man. Somebody told me, it's like, if you want to keep somebody living, you got to keep calling their name.
I like that.
We got to keep calling these people's names. We got to keep calling these individuals' names, like Zora Neale Hurston and all these individuals that helped develop these communities. And I would say those of y'all that are listening, man, comment below and tell us some of the names. Because, like we just mentioned, we probably mentioned your grandparents. You need to put their name down there because we need to know, like, these are people that we need to shout out. You know what I'm saying? That we need to shout out for just being people that grew up in it. Dog, here's the funny thing. You mentioned, let's go back to the Thomas E. Will, right? Wills, the Will family, right? When they first moved here, they lived in a shack. This is a Harvard graduate living in a shack. He was willing, because of the spirit of the time, willing to have that sacrifice for that moment, then to help build something. And I think that's something we need to take away too, is that those of us that want to see better for this community, that want to see the future of it better, we have to be willing to take take, how you say that, we got to be willing to sacrifice a little bit.
I agree.
We got to sacrifice. And then I think in that sacrifice, then we will see, during the sacrifice, proper planning, proper connections, proper interactions, because these people couldn't develop this community without outside forces, without outside help.
Yeah.
And as we can see, the outside, the country was looking at this area. But not just Belle Glade, the Glades area.
And, you know, I think it also sends the message that progress is not going to be a glorious thing. You know, like you said, you're talking about a Harvard graduate in Belle Glade.
I like that.
Living in a shack, conducting experiments
Yeah.
at the ground level, at ground zero.
Yeah.
And I think part of our problem is that we look for the glorious change.
Yeah.
There is no glorious change. Change starts at ground zero.
Ground zero. Oh, and that's powerful, bro.
It kind of points to every single one of us as individuals from Pahokee, from Belle Glade, from South Bay, to take individual responsibility for making your community better.
Exactly.
And not necessarily depending on the idea of a glorious change.
Yeah. It's not going to be sexy.
Right.
It won't be sexy. It's not going to be glamorous. It's going to be rolling up your sleeves, getting your hands dirty, getting our hands dirty, making tough decisions, being looked down upon. Like, why you live there still? Like, you know. I think that's one of the things. Like I did, because I live in Belle Glade. I live in Belle Glade. I got people that ask me that all the time, because I lived in New Orleans for a while, and people say, "You left New Orleans to come back to Belle Glade? What happened?" I'm like, nothing happened. I wanted to come back. Because now, does that mean those that are not back, you can't help? You sure enough can help. You got a lot you can give. But for some of us, like me, I have to be there. I have to be there to be that conduit, to be that channel that you can communicate through and be like, hey man, what you doing, man? How can we help? What can we be a part of? What is going on down there? Because you gotta have people that you can trust down there. Like we mentioned that last time. You gotta have people that you can trust. And I think as we are studying, as we are like looking into our communities and looking at the past, looking at the present, and looking towards our future, I think that's how we have to operate. We got to have those conduits. We got to have those people that are from here, that understand some of the struggles, that understand some of the situations, and say, hey, you know what? Okay, I can help in this way.
Yeah,
I can help in this way. And then you have others that say, okay, you know what? I know I can connect you to this person because of my influence here. And then we can and then I can get them to come and do. And I think all that together can develop what we're looking for, man.
It was similar for me too. Like, I was in Broward County. I spent a good maybe 7.5 to 8 years down in Broward County.
Yeah.
I ran a program where we worked with children in Lauderhill, at-risk children.
Right.
It was predominantly Haitian population, Haitian and Hispanic.
Yeah, a lot of yeah.
And the conditions that a lot of these children were living in, they really did need our program. And our first 2 years, we built the program. We doubled the size of the program, and we doubled the funding for it.
Wow.
Me and a coworker that came in with me, and in 2.5 years, I was managing my own site in the city of Miramar.
Wow.
Where there were also at-risk youth there too.
Right.
I've worked with kids who've seen their parent get killed, and they
right.
weren't talking to anybody. And over time, to see them grow, and to see them kind of get back to being a kid again. I've seen children in all kinds of situations, living in all kinds of conditions, going through all types of things.
Right.
But the crazy thing is, there came a day when I said, "Wow!" I said, I'm here for these children, and I'm like, what's going on with our children in Pahokee? I'm like,
ooh,
I'm impacting the lives of children in an entirely different county.
Right.
I'm like, man, I need to go home.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not glorious. It's not like there was this huge parade or whatever. Like,
when you came back,
it was very subtle. It was very quiet, and it's been that way. I've been back for like 4 years, and I still run into people like,
You back?
You back?
Yeah.
Like, I've been here for 4 years. Like, I go to work and I go home.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's still people who don't even know I'm here.
Right.
Right. But it's not glorious. It's never going to be a glorious thing. It's one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the ground level. It's not fun. Right?
Nah, man.
And but when you see children grow,
come on, man.
When you see them bend the corner, when you see them, changing before your eyes, like, I still have my students from Broward who call me now.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Bolden, like, I'm in Germany. I'm doing good. I have no kids. None of us have kids. Like, there was like a group of boys. Like, none of us have children.
Right.
We live all over the world.
Wow.
One of them called me. He's about to finish up in the Army, but he has a IT certification, so he wants to get out. And what he said to me, he said, Mr. Bolden, I want to do what you did for me.
Wow.
Right? You talking about a kid from Lauderhill. Mr. Bolden, I want to do what you did for me. And I said to him, yeah, you can do that, but you need to get your mom out of the situation she's in. You know what I'm saying? You need to move your family out of there. And I said, you have you have your IT certifications or whatever. You can come out making over $100,000 a year. And guess what? You can still mentor children. But I had to be honest with him. I said, bro, I didn't make any money. I really loved you guys. I didn't make a lot of money doing that for you guys. You need to make money to get your family, put your family in a better place. And, he said, yeah, you're right. And on top of that, once you get settled in, you can still mentor young men and you can still be there for them. Like the same way that you saw me, you felt like I was there for you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you know what, man? And I think that spirit, in other situations and other places, hey, everybody's like, yeah, I'm doing this great things. People shouting themselves out all the time, and that's whatever. But the work, you just got to do it. Yeah. We just got to do the work. But then I think what we're doing, what us talking about the history and we having a conversation about the history of the community also gives you a bit of encouragement. I know for me, just doing the research on our communities makes me go, okay, all right, okay, I get it. All right, I'm not crazy. All right, I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Bet. All right. So I need to think things through. I need to, okay, this is what these people did. Oh, okay, really? And I think then we can have proper conversations. Yeah. And then and here's the funny thing. Here's the better thing about it. We don't all have to be doing the same thing, but we all got to be doing something.
I agree.
We just got to. It has to be productive because we have too many people running around here doing unproductive things.
Okay, so with that being said, what do you see for the future of Belle Glade? What do you see for the future of Belle Glade? What do you think would like create that ideal situation for our youth and even for the adults? Because we oftentimes we focus on the children and the adults are suffering too.
Right.
So
a lot.
What about the future of Belle Glade?
I think the future of Belle Glade lies in us understanding that we have everything we need to make this place do what we want it to do. That doesn't mean we don't get outside help. But it does mean that we have everything we need to make it do what we want it to do. What we I believe is for us, we have to let go of certain narratives. But I believe the future of Belle Glade lies in us understanding that truth. That I have everything I need within me. I have everything I need. I have all the right pieces around me to make it pop.
You know what I see? I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I remember riding through Belle Glade. I hadn't been there in a while, right? So I'm riding around. I think I had a training and we had a lunch break, right? I had a training at West Tech.
Okay.
And we had a lunch break. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna eat, right? I have like a whole, about almost an hour, maybe 45 minutes, whatever. So I'm riding around Belle Glade, and I see construction. I see multifamily residents. I see them popping up everywhere. Like I was mad actually. I was like, man, what is this? Like I really felt like Belle Glade was like, wow, they're being very proactive about housing for their citizens. And providing those housing opportunities. I'm like, Belle Glade is being proactive. I see this there,
Yeah.
over there where near
I know
the
what you're talking
Palm
about.
Beach State.
Yep.
You got nice places, nice.
Black owned.
Really, I didn't know that.
Black owned.
All right, so I ride past Glade Central, and then I'm like, okay, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
man, wow.
Yeah.
Belle Glade, to me, seems like they're people, are city officials, and are being very, very, very proactive
Right.
about creating these opportunities.
Right.
And I don't necessarily see that in Pahokee yet. And for somebody from Pahokee, like you almost can't not compare them, right?
Yeah.
I see Belle Glade over there, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing?
What are
over
we
here?
doing? Right.
So I look around Pahokee, and I don't see the same things happening in Pahokee. Now there could be legitimate reasons for why that's not happening. I don't know, but for me, it was kind of discouraging to see that type of progress. I'm happy about the progress of Belle Glade.
Right.
I got excited and angry at the same time. Right. But I gotta say, like, I would love to see that type of stuff in Pahokee.
Yeah. But can I be honest with you too? I know I just sounded real positive, right? You angry about the fact that it ain't happening in Pahokee, but at the same time, I'm still angry about some things not happening in Belle Glade.
Like what?
That could happen. Like we got stuff in Belle Glade, for example, man. We got some situations in Belle Glade that if the right people, for example, we got a lot of properties in Belle Glade. Like, okay, we'll give you an example. Belle Glade has a housing problem because we got more people than housing.
But it looks like y'all fixing it.
Sorta, kinda. We doing it, and it feels like we're not doing it at the same time. Yeah, you see houses, you see complexes going up.
Yeah.
But then we had like a major complex shut down like 4 or 5 years ago, Palm Glades, right? And it still hasn't. And from what I've heard, the developers that took over the project, they're like, we don't think we're gonna be able to get this back up because there's too many problems. So
Like what kind of problems?
like it was more than what they thought. Like they bought it for like $2 million or something like that, thinking that they were going to be able to just fix it real quick. Like just roofs. They thought it was going to just be roofing problems, a few doors here, a few windows here, whatever. Get it fixed. We'll be up and running again. And they realized it's more. It's probably like they found there's mold. There's all these other situations. A lot of something that is costing more than the $2 million that they put into it. Right. So you literally got like a huge multifamily housing complex that's sitting empty, right? And at the same time, we got that in the city, like inside of Belle Glade, you got a bunch of like apartment buildings that just got shut down. They got condemned because you just can't live in them. But there's people that own those places and they don't want to sell them. Or if they are selling, they're selling them too high.
Wow.
They're selling them too high. So developers are like, man, I don't want to go buy that. Because people are buying. There's people that want to buy stuff in Belle Glade so bad. Right? There's people I have spoken to people in between Dade and Orange County that are actively, when I say actively, they're on MLS every day looking at properties in Belle Glade. Cause Belle Glade is where it's finna be at.
Okay.
Belle Glade and Pahokee is where it's gonna be at. Specifically Belle Glade.
Well, I see it happening in Belle Glade.
Yeah,
I do see it happening.
but it could be more.
I want to see stuff like that
in Pahokee. And I think in Pahokee, I think I'm only gonna speak from the Belle Glade side. I work in Pahokee, but in the Belle Glade side, a lot of people are frustrated because they're just like, hey, you people that, and this is not it could be government, but I think it's mainly some private owners. You let the properties go. Just let them go. So more development can happen. Like, and that's one of the biggest, that's why I said, that's at the same time, I'm excited. I'm excited, super excited. But at the same time, I know there's other things going on, and people are just like, "Hey, man, just let the properties go. Let the prices go down so real development can come in. You let it go down. Chill out." You know what I'm saying? But in Pahokee, I get with your frustrations. Like, at least you're saying, at least we got it started, and I'm saying that I believe if there can be more spillover. I don't know if that makes sense to you. What I'm saying. It's like,
keep going. I'm listening.
Like, more spillover can happen if a lot of the properties in Belle Glade that are priced pretty high right now come down. There'll be a spillover into Pahokee because now those people can be like, "Oh man, I got good prices in Belle Glade. I'm finna go to Pahokee, and I'm finna start doing because it's worth it."
Man,
this is what they telling me, man. This is
okay. So I was on Facebook the other day, right?
Okay.
And somebody asked a very good question. They said, "What is the newest construction building that has been constructed in Pahokee? What is the newest building in Pahokee, and when was it built?" All right. Now
you beat me. You got me.
I'm just saying, the newest construction in Pahokee. When was it built?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. I think about the fire station. I think about there's I don't know if they remodeled or they completely built the marathon. Or right, was that marathon?
You know what? That marathon might be the newest thing.
That might be the newest. That might be, and that was just a few years ago.
Not the PNC, sure not. No, PNC setup been like that for a while, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, marathon, because I saw marathon go up in front of me. That's got to be about 4 years.
4 years, 3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago, yeah.
That's the newest building in Pahokee.
Yeah.
Newest.
Yeah.
It's a gas station slash hot food spot.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Not multifamily housing. Not new houses.
Yeah.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what gets me, right?
Yeah.
And then when I go to Belle Glade, I see them building stuff. I see stuff that has been built recently, and I see them still building stuff.
Yeah, I get you. I got you.
What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know.
And you know what I think? I think, and this is where I go back to what I said earlier, and this is where I believe. Okay, I'm finna get.
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a book called what's the thing called? It's called The Monster at Jekyll's Island.
No.
Never heard of that book?
Nope.
Okay, it's a book called I'll make sure I'm telling you the right name, but I won't give you the right name because I want you to go look it up.
You said The Monster at Jekyll's Island?
The Monster at... Yeah, it's by G. Edward Griffin. The Creature, my bad, not The Monster. The Creature from Jekyll Island.
The Monster at Jekyll Island?
Creature from Jekyll Island.
Oh, the Creature from
Jekyll Island, okay? I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you this. This is probably one of the most... It's an older book, whatever. It's an old book. But what this book is not about no creatures. Actually, what it was it was a meeting. It was a meeting between... at the time, this was like right after the Great Depression, or in the middle of it. You had a bunch, like some of America's biggest tycoons. Like you had biggest oil tycoons, energy, banking tycoons. They all came together on this island to discuss how they were going to change the economic system in America. They went to a secret location.
This ties into Belle Glade.
Huh?
This ties into Belle Glade.
It's about to. I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
Because you be like, I bet you like, what you?
Go ahead.
What you talking about, man?
I'm listening.
So they went and had this meeting because at the time these guys were fighting over who gonna be the richest man in the country, and they realized there's never gonna be the richest person in the country. We got to work together. And so what they did, they went in there, they worked together, and they went and put together this plan to set up their situation to where they will always, all of their businesses, all of their corporations will always stay rich. Okay? So this is how it relates back to us. I believe those of us in these communities, we need to have our own Creature at Jekyll Islands meeting. We need to have our own.
Go ahead.
We need to have our own meeting. Not publicized, not on. It don't need to be Facebook Live. They don't need to be nothing. It needs to be a meeting that people have together, and then they say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. These are some of the things that we're going to do to make our community." And this doesn't need to be no question about how we're gonna make more money. It needs to be a question of how we're gonna make our community better, and we have the people in the community to do it. That's what I believe, and I believe once that meeting of minds happens, right? And it needs to be, it may be a group of 20, maybe a group of 10, maybe a group of 100, I don't know. But like-minded people that want to see the best and that understand that we all may not have the same approach, but we have the same goal in mind. And I think that right there, because that right there, it can shift who you put in power.
Okay.
It can shift the type of communications that we're having with people in other, like in higher government places, because now we know what we want. We know our goal. Our goal is this. So now we know how we're gonna go about it. We know who we want to put in power. We know who we're gonna get. We know who we're gonna put in power.
Okay.
How does that make sense?
This is a crazy book.
It is. It is a crazy. It goes a little bit deeper. I just gave you the like.
Oh, it's very deep.
It's very deep. No. It's like people that know that book, you're gonna be like, Mo, what you talking about, man? That book talking about how these dudes, they literally deconstructed the economic system of America. Yeah, they did. They did. That's the premise of the book. Yeah, they went. In that whole, just for those that don't know, if you go read it, you're gonna find out this is the reason why we got off the gold standard. This is a lot of reasons, a lot of stuff. So yeah. Sorry, we didn't mean to go there. It's about the state of the book. This is my mind. I'm sorry, guys. Apologies.
This is crazy.
I'm sorry. Why did I do that to this man? This is what
This is crazy.
I'm sorry. This is where I go. This is what goes in my brain. I'm sorry. But listen, bro. Listen. I talk to people. Can I be honest with you?
What?
I had a buddy of mine came from. He lives in Tampa now. He really for Belle, Glade, Haitian guy. And he came and he was disappointed. He was disappointed with Belle Glade.
Okay.
Because he was just like, man, it feels so depressed. And I had to kind of check him. When I say check him, I had to kind of just remind him. I said, hey, listen, bro, listen. You got to remember. The Belle Glade you remember was because there was money being made. The money was coming down. And that money was being spent in the community. Once the money stopped being funneled down, then what happens to the community? It falls apart. The community can't sustain itself. Like businesses can't sustain themselves without that money, right? That's just not, it's impossible. If the biggest source of income in the community stops giving out jobs, they don't raise their rates. So what do you expect? Like businesses can't stay there. You said that last time in the last podcast. Like, if there's not capital being infused, businesses are not going to come there. They do their market research. And you don't even have to be like a major business. A regular mom and pop can't survive. If there ain't nobody making money, I can't just keep the doors open on what it used to be like. So that's why I say we got to have conversations about other things to bring other employment opportunities and things like that to the community, man.
So now it's making me think. When I was I remember when we had a Burger King in Pahokee.
Yeah. I used to have a.
You know what? I got to get out of this because I kind of felt myself go down.
Don't get out. Don't go down.
So let me.
Yeah.
Get myself back together.
Get ready.
Man,
get it back together, bro.
Oh, I hate this.
Yeah. But can I tell you something, bro?
Go ahead, man. I'm listening.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
I hope so.
I know so. There is light at the end. You know why?
I hope so.
Can I tell you something? You know why I know there's light at the end of the tunnel?
How you know?
Because we're having this conversation. this conversation and this conversation is going to spark other conversations.
Okay.
There's guys watching this right now. There's people watching you watching this right now. and they're thinking to themselves, you know what, they right, man. I do know people. There's dudes from Pahokee and Belle Glade that are well connected. I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and they were telling me about the dudes that they know from Belle Glade and Pahokee, from South Bay, that are connected to congressmen, that are connected to public officials, and they're down to earth dudes. These are dudes that we all know. And we're not just talking about athletes, but the only thing is they don't know, like you mentioned last time, they don't know who to talk to. They don't
Hold
know
on.
who. Yeah.
If they're connected to congressmen and all of these so-called important people, lawmakers, etc. All right. If you're connected to these people, why don't you have, or why can't you exercise that or leverage that relationship for systematic change
Yeah.
in Pahokee, Belgrade, South Bay?
Because they don't live there no more.
So okay, so that goes back to my question. If it doesn't do anything for your people and your city,
Yeah.
I don't care about your relationship to a congressman.
No,
if it don't benefit our people.
It will.
I don't.
No, it will. Because now, I heard a person say this one time. If you don't know what you want, right? If the person don't know what you want, they can't just they're not gonna know what to give to you, right? Like, if a person from the community isn't being actively told, hey, this is what we need, go talk to this person and tell them, or ask them, or say, like, what can we do to get this into our community? But if nobody's telling them, they just know the guy. I know guys that know guys. And one time I had to get on one guy. I said, man, you know what we doing, bruh. It's like, but nobody asked me.
Okay.
Nobody asked me.
My question, okay.
Nobody, and I don't even.
If you're from Belgrade, if you're from Belgrade, you're all too familiar with what the issues are.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah.
So, with you being from Belgrade and with you being all too familiar with what the issues are,
right?
I don't need anybody telling me what I already know. Yeah. I don't need anybody telling me what I already know. I already know what's wrong in my city.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I already know. So if I'm in a position to, if I got relationships with congressmen and all these other things or whatnot, and I'm familiar, especially, you grow up in the project, you grow up whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what people need,
Yeah.
You're familiar. You've been there all your life.
Right.
And now you're out there doing whatever, but Why do you need somebody to tell you what's wrong?
Yeah.
You don't need nobody telling you what's wrong. You know what's wrong.
Not necessarily what's wrong. How do I fix it? Because they know what's wrong. They don't know how to fix it. So they need people to tell them, this is how we fix it, and this is how you're going to help us fix it.
So we still need people telling them how to do stuff. Okay.
What? No. You hear what I just said?
I'm listening.
I'm telling you, because sometimes it's like what you remember when we talked about the football players?
Okay.
And how they don't have nobody to trust, that they can trust with capital or to trust with certain things. And it's the same, it's in the same vein. It's like, I know a person, but if I go ask them, I have to go ask them specifically, this is what we need. This is how we're going to do it. But if I don't know, if nobody's coming to me, or if nobody's giving me an avenue, like you mentioned last time, how to do it, I don't know. I can go tell them, man, this is what my community's like. This is what my community needs. And that person can just be like, wow, man. And the first question that person's going to ask them, who's down there we can deal with? Who is down there? Who is the public official? That's the first question they're going to ask them. Because they're not going to just be like, well, okay, man, I'm going to go make something happen. No, they're going to be like, who's down there? Who can I go talk to go make this happen? Right? And I think that's why, let's go back. That's why I said we need to have, there needs to be a coming of minds amongst people in the community. in both communities to say, all right, let's line out what we want. And let's go reach out to every person we know that is from this community that is connected, whether they're connected or whatever. We don't know what people are connected to.
Right.
And then we tell them, hey, man, this is what we want to do. And we have this meeting of the minds. And I'm telling you, somebody going to say, oh, I know somebody that can do that for us. Somebody else is going to be like, I know somebody that can do that for us. I know somebody else that can do that for us. And then without us even, and because listen, like we went in our history, and let's go back to the history. These people were able to do what they did because they leveraged their connections outside of the community. And because they did that, they were able to make the community better. They was like, okay, now we can make the community better here. Now we can make the community better here. Now we can make the community better here. And I think that's the same thing we got to have, because I can rattle, man, don't let me get started on football players.
I mean, we already talked about that.
We know, but here's the thing. It's the same thing. If we have a plan, we talk about it, and I'm not talking about like some cheesy peasy plan. We talking about like we saying we have a not no 5-year plan. We talking about a 50-year plan for the community. This is what we want it to look like in 50 years. I may not be, well, I'm gonna be here in 50 years for it. And that's how we go about it. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it, bro. Don't feel down, bro. Get your head up.
I'm not down. I'm just saying.
Head up. Let me stop, man. Let me stop.
I think honestly, just like we talked about earlier, there's nothing glorious about this. And just like we talked about, the Will family and what they had in mind when they did what they did.
Right.
They didn't need anybody to tell them to do that. They had a vision for what they wanted.
Yeah.
And they went and made it happen. We're talking Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
Coming to Belle Glade and deciding this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And that's it. And the thing is, there's nothing glorious about that. There's nothing, and the thing is, most of us have been here all of our lives, and we don't even know about these types of people.
No.
But what they did was significant. I just, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
If we have to wait on people to, I guess, come together and have a 50-year plan. I don't see anybody around here making 50-year plans.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody around here.
Yeah.
Doing. I don't see that.
Yeah.
So, do we just kind of like let it continue to fall, or is it up to us to find like minds among ourselves and come together and try to do whatever it is that we can do, however small that group is, come together and do that, because I don't see on a massive scale like everybody doing that.
Yeah.
I don't see, I don't even know if we landlocked right now. I hear about a lot of people complaining that they can't even purchase land or property in Pahokee, but I see signs up everywhere.
Yeah.
I saw a lot.
I did too.
I saw a residential lot.
So.
Going towards Canal Point. It's just like if you're coming from.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And did you see how much those lots are?
I didn't.
Those lots are comparable to lots in Port St. Lucie.
What?
You talking about $35,000-$40,000 lot?
What?
That's insane. This is Pahokee.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because it's Palm Beach County.
$35,000-$40,000 for just the land there.
Yeah, because it's still considered that. And see, that is. See what you just mentioned? This is the blessing and the curse of being a rural community in a large county. Because the people in that county, the people that in that rural community can still charge, can still put up rates, they can still sell what they have at the county's market value, not the community's market value. I don't know if that makes sense.
Man, that's some BS, bro.
No, it's not bro. It's real,
Man,
bro.
listen.
Listen. There's no reason why that property should be $12,000, $11,000
True.
in Pahokee.
True.
The only reason it's that high is because, first of all, they can do it because it's in Palm Beach County. It is BS, but because it's in Palm Beach County, and the median, because Palm Beach people forget about Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County median. You know what they say the median income in Palm Beach County is?
What?
I want to say 100,000.
Median.
Why?
Man,
look it up, bro. Look it up, bro. Median income in Palm Beach County, bro. Look it up. We're gonna chase that rabbit.
This is crazy.
Chase that rabbit, bro.
This is crazy.
Median income in Palm Beach County. What is it?
That can't be median.
Median income in Palm Beach County, bro.
Median household income is $61,691
In Palm Beach County.
61.
Say it again.
61.
That's the median income.
Yeah.
In Palm Beach County. That's crazy, bro.
It is crazy.
But you know what though? Here's the bad part about it. Because they're including Jupiter. So Michael Jordan got a house in Jupiter. So they're including people.
Man, that has nothing to do.
I'm telling you, bro.
A lot in Paul.
Yeah, it has all to do.
That's crazy,
bro. So what they're saying is somebody can say a person can put their lot on the market as if it was in West Palm, knowing good well it's in Pahokee, knowing good well that there's nothing in Pahokee right now. But because it's in Palm Beach County, because that same lot, if it's in Hendry County, if it's in Hendry County, it's $10,000 in Hendry County, because they know that's not the median income for Hendry County. But because it's still in Palm Beach County, you can still put it at that price. And here's the thing, they can't they literally and that is why developers are so afraid of Belle, Glade, Pahokee, South, because they know they're literally waiting for certain people just to get out because they're just hoping they die and their kids just don't want the properties anymore. That's what they're hoping for. Because the people that still own those properties, you said 2 lots. I saw 2 lots. I saw 3 lots for sale. I saw a lot, right after you pass, if you're going towards Canal Point, what's that the main street way? After you pass what's that? After you pass that gas station, was it Bite Me? After you pass Bite Me?
On the left. That's
what
I'm talking about.
Oh, that's
30, but between 35 and 40,000
right there. But then if
lots.
you keep going down, right before you get to the railroad track, there's another lot
on the right.
On the right,
yeah.
And then there's a house also for sale over there on that same right hand side. Mm-hmm. And then if you go back up, if you're going by is that Barfield? No, that's not Barfield. Barfield is Bacon Point. Bacon Point. You got a whole bunch you got at least 2 or 3 houses. I want to say 2 or 3 houses for sale on Bacon Point. Nice houses. I don't even know how much they cost.
I can tell you right now, that house that's close to Bite Me on the right side.
Yeah.
Is I think it's up for probably about 300,000.
It's in the words of my boy Pat Williams, lakefront property, baby.
Lakefront.
I'm telling you, it's lakefront. It's considered lakefront property. It's considered lakefront property.
I don't mind it being called lakefront property. I don't mind it being called that. You gonna make me go to a Remax site?
Bruh, go look it up, bruh. Go Zillow, Remax, whatever, bruh. That property is considered lakefront property, and they're gonna sell it at that. They're gonna sell it at that cost, bruh. That's what they're gonna do. That's what we're dealing with. There's no reason let's put it like this. That's a part of the problems of what we have in the Glades area. We have people that are overvaluing things that they allowed to go down. They allowed that thing to go down. They allowed the value of the area to go down, but they still want to sell properties at market value for Palm Beach County, right? Or St. Lucie County. And you know that property's not valued that for the area. You know there's nothing here. And you're just hoping that you can bank on the fact that people want, the buzz is that everybody wants to come here. That's the buzz. The buzz in the.
Okay. So I know a person in particular who just built their home from the ground up.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't pay for. They probably, I think they paid around $40,000 for that lot right there. Mm-hmm. But that's in Port St. Lucie. Houses are going up every day.
Right.
You mean to tell me?
Yeah. I'm telling you.
That lot in Pahokee.
Oh yeah.
Is worth the same amount.
Yep. And you lucky they didn't make it 50. It probably was at 50.
Yeah, they can list it for whatever they want.
They probably had it listed at 50 and it been on the market a year. Now they realize, let me bring it down to 30 now. I wouldn't even doubt if you go look up the Remax thing for it, I bet you a year ago it was probably at 50. That's what they do, bro. They do it in Belle Glade too. They do the same, though. It's the same rigmarole. It's the same game getting played in Belle Glade, bro. I know this for sure. I know this for fact. I'm telling you. Same, you.
Bro, this is crazy.
Yeah, man. Matter of fact, you see that property you want? We have a mutual person we know that was trying to buy that property.
What property?
That one you talking about? The 3 lot, them lots right after the right after on the left hand side after Bite Me. Right. I know we know a mutual person that we know was trying to buy that property, and his realtor told him, "Do not buy that property. It's too high." And then that same person went and bought something in Palm Beach. He went and bought something in Palm Beach that was already had the land, everything he needed, and it would have been the same cost of what he was going to do it in Pahokee for. Yeah, because his realtor said, "Man, don't do that. Don't go and put that money into that, because don't do that, because they're asking too much for it." Telling you,
looking right now.
Look, bro, look, man. I'm telling you, man, bro. I'm telling you, you're gonna see houses in Pahokee, bro. Any houses along by the dike, all the houses by the dike, they at least 200. They 200 plus by the dike in Pahokee.
Whoa.
How much?
Oh, no, I'm not looking at that one. I saw something else.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's crazy. This house, okay. So I'm looking at a house on Baker Point Road, right? Going towards Belle Glade. Now, the other day when I looked at this thing, this house was $276,000. It was listed at $276,000, right? Guess how much is they drew a line through 276. Mm-hmm. It dropped $76,000. This house is worth $200,000 now.
Right. Didn't I just tell you that?
It wasn't worth $276 to begin with, not in Pahokee.
Right, that's what I'm telling you, man. But the reason why they doing that is because they in where? Palm Beach County.
Man, they can list it for whatever they want to list it for, bro.
They live in Palm Beach County.
Not getting that kind of money.
That's what it is. They live in Palm Beach County. They're like, well, they realtors telling them, you can get market value for it because it's in Palm Beach County. That's what they realtors telling them, bro.
Oh, so we gotta wrap this up, man.
Yeah, we got to. We do. Sorry, I put a damper in.
Out of that mind. I don't care if it's lakeside, courtside.
It could be 40 in Pahokee. Nah, man, not in
Give you
Pahokee.
14 grand.
Right, right.
Anyway.
And listen, man, and I think that right there should make us like, yeah, that right there should make us understand, like that. That should make you understand what we dealing with, man. We dealing with another kind of monster here, man. We dealing with a whole nother beast here.
That's good.
When you're dealing with, like, you literally have overvalued property like this. Overvalued property because of, by nature of where it's situated. That's it. Nothing else.
So yeah. So we talked about the history. We talked about the future of Belle Glade. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm excited for you guys in Belle Glade because I see y'all doing stuff. I'm excited for you guys. Like, yeah. I know that everything is not perfect.
No,
but sometimes it's like when you see new things coming up, when you see new structures coming up, you feel like there's progress being made. Yeah. And sometimes that's good enough for people. Just to see something happening. Yeah.
That's true.
I would love to see something happening.
Yeah.
In Pahokee like that. Multi-family residents or whatnot. Hopefully we get that. I mean, we got a lot of land. And I don't know. Yeah. I've seen and heard about the plans and all of the other stuff or whatever, man, but you see and hear about plans all the time.
All the time. For years.
At some point,
for years.
we want to see action. And I don't know. But I'm proud of Belle Glade.
I'm proud of Belle Glade, and I'm proud of Pahokee. I'm proud of
both of them.
I'm proud of and I'm in South Bay. Yeah. And I'm gonna say why I'm proud, because there's still people from these communities that are people like us.
South Bay is doing some stuff too.
A lot of stuff.
See.
And
South Bay got some stuff going on.
Yeah, they got a whole.
They got some stuff going on.
I know. We just got to get
the ones who kind of started this thing.
Yeah,
we got to have some stuff going on.
But you know what? I'm proud of the fact that there's people from these communities that are still fighting for these communities. And I think that right there speaks volumes. That there's still people that see, hey, these communities are worth fighting, because there's people that are telling them, man, it's not worth fighting for. There's people telling us, as a person, like people like you and I that are educated, that grew up in this community is not worth fighting for. Why don't you go someplace else? There's people telling us this. And I think we need to get to the right, and it's good to know that there's people from these communities that are saying, no, I am not going to go someplace else. I'm going to come right here and make sure this community is everything that I know it can be, and some. But like you said, you got to see a little bit of progress first to get that popping. And sometimes that means putting fire up under certain people. It means not taking no for an answer and things like that. But that's why we doing the State of the Muck.
You know what? And now that I think about it, you know what? Maybe I just need to reach out and, I don't know. Maybe I need to attend some meetings or like talk to some people or whatever, because I really want some clarity in terms of where we're going,
right?
And what the plans are,
yeah,
and specifically like what's the timeline for X, Y, and Z being done.
Yeah,
I want to see that. Goals should be specific and they should have a time frame.
Yeah,
and I think. You know what? I think maybe I'll reach out, or maybe I'll start attending, these meetings and things like that or whatever, just to kind of get some clarity, man. Because the eye test is not doing it for me. Like what I'm seeing is not, it's not doing it for me. And then when I go somewhere else, when I go to Belle Glade, when I go to South Bay,
10 miles away,
I see,
you see,
I see action, and,
right.
I see we kind of refurbished or whatever you want to call it. The old high school, but that's a historical. It's a historical site now.
Yeah.
I see that being done, but that's
But you know what? But you know what's going to happen now.
what.
You're not going to be the only one that's going to ask questions now. See, you're not going to be asking questions by yourself. Because of this podcast, cats are going to be going out there and be like, I need to go find out what's happening. Because I heard about a plan 10 years ago. I ain't seen nothing, and I live here. I went to a meeting, but I haven't gone because I didn't hear anything. Now I need to go and check up on what's going on. Right. Because you're not the only person. And I think more people are going to start saying, you know what? I'm finna go check up on what's going on out here, man. I'm finna go see what's happening out here. And that right there is enough to get, that's what you need. And public officials can say, well, we need you to be there, but they don't. Public officials don't be liking when you got to come in there. People really coming in there and be like, hey, man, what y'all doing for real? Like, when is this going to come to fruition? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said what we're doing here, we're motivating the conversation. We're motivating.
I hope so.
I know so. Bruh, we're going to see in the next year or two, we're going to see things start moving in Pahokee. I'm speaking that. I'm speaking that. And it's going to be because of, not only because of what we're doing, but because people are going to say, you know what? I'm tired of seeing this like this. I'm a taxpayer. I live here. I work here. My children go to school here. I want to see more here. And I don't want y'all to keep telling me what's finna happen. I want to see it. I need to see a house pop up. I need to see, you know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, people are going to do that. And when they do that, that's going to put fire. It might mean some people going to lose their positions in office. It might mean a whole shift of whatever, but it's going to happen. And I'm one of those dudes. I believe that. I believe that. I'm an optimist like that. And I know, and I work in Pahokee, and I know people like you. I know y'all love y'all community, man. Y'all love y'all community more than we love Belle Glade. I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all love Pahokee more than we love Belle Glade. I'm not gonna lie to you. Cats from Belle Glade to switch out on Belle Glade.
Maybe we need to stop loving Pahokee so some stuff can be done. Because stuff is going on in Belle Glade, man. Maybe we need to say we hate this place so that people can get things done.
I mean, man, listen.
Sometimes love don't do it, brother.
It don't, man. Sometimes it just be pure like, hey, man, forget it. But I'm telling you, y'all love y'all city, man. And there's no reason, man. Like, and I think that love needs to be translated, man. I saw something. I went to a homegoing service for a wonderful lady today. And the love that I saw being exude at that homegoing, that was powerful. It was powerful to be around, bro. Right. It was just like, you're at a homegoing service, you think it's finna be sad, and I left out of that junk smiling and like,
okay,
that was powerful,
right? But that was a woman who was an amazing person. She meant a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And she was good to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with
I see where you're going.
All right?
I see where you're going.
So I could understand why people would feel the way that they feel.
Yeah, yeah.
And celebrate the way that they celebrate.
Right.
Because that was an influential person.
Yeah.
All right? That she did a lot of good for people.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I would say, I think that, of course, we love the place because that's where we're from. That's where we're born and raised. But Pahokee has to be good to you, too. All right? And the people who are running it have to be good, too.
To the people. Shout out to William A. Jackson.
All right?
Yeah.
So this is about reciprocity.
Yeah.
I love this place, and I need this place to love me. And I need whoever is in charge, I need them to love me. And when I say me, I mean, in general, the people.
Yeah.
We love Pahokee, and you should love Pahokee as well.
Yeah.
You should love Pahokee enough
to do everything you can.
To do every single thing that you can possibly do.
Yeah.
To make this right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if we can do that, I think that's fine. You ain't even got you don't even have to love me. Love Pahokee.
Okay, now. Yeah. Yep.
You can hate me. Love Pahokee though.
Yeah.
And you know, I just don't see it.
Listen, we're gonna this podcast is open to any public official that want to come and sit down with us and talk to us and clarify whatever. Talk to us. Talk to the people so they can know what's happening. Belle, Glade, Pahokee, South Bay. We are open. We are open for business. We want people to come and talk to us and share with us so people can know, so they can know what's going on behind the curtain, so they can know what's happening behind closed doors. And if you need their help to get things moving, tell them to come holler at us. Comment on the bottom. Hit us up.
I would love to interview you. I would love.
Yeah. Hit us up, man. Yeah. And you can come and share and let people know how they can make things happen because, hey, man, it's 2020, man. It's 2020. There's no reason why these communities should be looking the way they're looking in 2020. There's no reason. It's bad enough I ain't flying no car already. I need my community to look like it's 2020. It can't be looking like it's 1980 still around here. And worse than 1980. It don't even look like it was 1980 in some of these communities. 1980 looked better than what it looks like in 2020. And that's a shame. And so we need to do whatever we need to do to make it happen. So if you need our help, tell us what we need to do. And we sure enough know you know what you got to do. So y'all, this is what we got to stop the podcast at today.
All right.
We saw it's a long one. I know.
Really?
Oh yeah, man. We in this thing. Well, it was a long one today.
But so State of the Muck.
Yeah.
Pretty much focusing on Belle Glade today. People of Belle Glade, you have so much to be proud of. You have so many people who've contributed to Belle Glade, to the rise of Belle Glade, and I encourage you all to continue that legacy.
Yeah.
Continue that legacy. Find out where you belong in terms of what actions you need to take.
Yeah.
To make your place to make Belle Glade a better place, to leave Belle Glade better than it was when you found it.
It's powerful.
All right, and I think if everybody takes a look at themselves and figures out how they can contribute, I think you can be on that list of people who have done things and impacted Belle Glade on a national scale.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm very proud of what you guys have accomplished. I'm very proud of everything from your athletes to your professionals. Belle Glade is filled with very, very intelligent people who have gone out and also, just like Pahokee, done amazing things. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Belle Glade in that regard.
Like we told y'all in the beginning, man, like, subscribe, share, comment on this. Please share this. Please share this on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on YouTube. Let people know about the State of the Muck. Elevate from within. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to see. Also, if you wanna get on the podcast, hit us up. What's that email again?
You can go to coaching 2 elevate ELEV 8 at gmail.com. If you want to leave any comments, or if you want to share your story or your perspective, or even just be a part of the conversation when it comes down to anything related to the Muck. I know we didn't get everything. There may be some things that you could share with us that could kind of add to the quality of the conversation. We welcome you to join us and let's have that conversation.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, this is your boy Mo.
This is Derek B.
And man, we so happy that you took this time to sit down with us again and just to talk about the State of the Muck. Thank you once again. Like, subscribe, share. This is Elevate from Within, the State of the Muck.
Peace.